Hi everyone, welcome inside Mountain America Stadium. Gabby Chernoff and Chris Cartman for SunDevilSource. ASU Wednesday night practice. They're about halfway through camp right now, and we have a very detailed analysis from this halfway point of camp coming your way right now. A little bit of a shorter practice today. We saw some scrimmaging. Sam Levitt, after Cam Scadaboo's departure, the leader of this team, he's a Heisman hopeful. He was just signing some autographs for some kids back there, and one of them, as he was walking away, said, "Hey, you're going to win the Heisman." He looked back and gave him a smile. So where is Sam Levitt right now? What do you evaluate his progress to be at this point?
His expectations are to be that guy, to win a Heisman, to lead ASU to a national championship game. Dillingham said you're not going to put external pressure on him. That's more than what he puts on himself, right? Levitt's going to have to go from a 62% completion percentage into the high 60s, more early down success, throwing the football, getting some explosive plays set up on second and short, third and short. They have some big play capability around him. How do you offset the loss of Cam Scadaboo? It is Levitt throwing for more yards earlier, not putting it into some third and long situations as much as he was faced with last year, some more explosive plays, and then more big plays from your defense, some of the other guys around him. I think he's had probably a few too many interceptions in camp, but then the question becomes, is that because he's already under duress and he's just kind of seeing what, if he's making the right read or whatever? It's hard to tell. In about another week or so, they're going to go down to their preparations where you have scout team introduction and all that. And that's when they're going to start to get into a really good rhythm with their offense. You'll see him start to light it up, feel confident, be in rhythm. But we're not going to really know where he's at, I don't think, until you get to probably Mississippi State. I think he's going to be better. How much better remains to be seen.
And with those skill positions at running back, we have three players battling it out for that running back one role, and then wide receiver, obviously Jordan Tyson will be the wide receiver one, but Hines Ward has been saying all camp, we need a guy to step up as that receiver two, and you've been saying all camp that tight end room is very, very deep. So skill position-wise, what are you thinking?
It's definitely a close by committee situation that we're looking at running back. Sean Aguano said that it might take a few games to see what these guys are actually doing on the field. They're very different. Kyson Brown's more patient. Game slowed down for him. He's using his blockers as shields better. He has track speed, so maybe he can get out there and break some longer runs. Raleek Brown's added 15 pounds. Very twitchy, a guy you want to get to the ball to in space. Throw it to him, get him off tackle, but he runs a little bit better in between the tackles than he probably gets credit for. Has to stay healthy because that's been an issue. Kanye Udo much improved from the spring until now. I think he's poised to be a guy that can run behind his pads, 12 personnel, get a lot done there. Wide receiver, after Tyson, you have three guys that are very close in terms of how the ball might be distributed. Malik McClain at the X position, that's the boundary side. He's versatile. And then they have Jaron Hamilton, who's a big play guy over the top. And then complementary to him is Jalen Moss, who's a zone guy in the slot, two-way go, option route, red zone type of guy. Very complimentary. Tight end, as you said, probably as good as we've seen it in a very long time. Shimon Mateer's an all-league player. Kamar Anderson is really good and probably will be not a drop-off after Mateer's gone. They can play together. They're blockers. They can run. They can create mismatches. Cameron Harple is a really solid do-everything guy who's probably underappreciated for his mobility and athleticism. And AJ Ia, on most teams, will be playing a lot. On this team, he probably won't play that much. But he is a man in the making, and it's going to be probably hard as the year goes on to keep him off the field.
And with that offensive line, the biggest development, and a pretty recent development at that, is who's going to be in that center role. Ben Coleman trained all spring. He was snapping balls all spring to play center. They go out and get the Helton twins from the portal out of Iowa State in the offseason. And then now Wade Helton is the one who's been taking those first-team reps at center. Chris, what do you make of all of that?
3 days in, it's hard to tell. Quite often, you get a sense immediately whether or not that's a better option than what they had been doing previously. And honestly, I don't know at this point, but that also tells you that it's something that they probably need to keep exploring. The downside to exploring is that Coleman's not getting those extra snapping reps. And so I think that he's going to need to keep working on his own on the side. We've seen him do that with Sam Levitt. Problem is, when you go to scrimmages, it's faster, and then that's when you have a little bit more inaccuracy because you're trying to hurry to get your hands up. That's the biggest thing to watch with the O-line, because everywhere else, returning starters, Ihanachour looks like an all-conference player, an NFL draft pick. Kyle Scott's a pretty good right guard. Josh Atkins is lighter and leaner. They do have Jamedo Bigbo. If Wade Helton doesn't start at center. It's probably Obigbo at left guard, Ben Coleman at center, and the snapping is the main thing. But those guys are big, strong, athletic, more mobile, more screen game, more 12 personnel. Should be better protection for Sam Levitt. Blocking should still also be good.
Now let's flip it on the other side of the ball in the defensive back room. 4 of the 5 starters, or 4 of the 5 top guys rather, returning. Everybody but Shamari Simmons. Chris, what do you think of where that room is at right now?
Secondary, super talented. Now, Alford and Miles Rouser have not always been going, but there's no issues with them, and we know that they're going to be playing at all conference level. I think Keith Abney's got a lot better at corner. That's been the big development that we've seen. Rodney Bimage is pushing Javen Robinson. Those guys it's a good, tight 2-3 race. Bimage is just a little bit longer, maybe a little faster, a little more athletic, but probably not as polished quite yet. Biggest question mark on ASU's defense is that nickel position with the Simmons departure. I think Kendrick Breedlove is a little bit ahead of Montana Warren, primarily because of the coverage aspect. They're both very good physical players around the line of scrimmage. You need that from the 4-2-5 when you got that nickel role, because you got to be able to hang in there on the screen game, run game. And so I think they'll be fine. It's probably not going to be as good as last year. That's the only area on the defense where it might not be quite as good.
And then those linebackers, talking to A.J. Cooper, he's very fond of how his veterans in that room, which there are a lot of returners, a lot of veterans within that linebacker group, are kind of mentoring some of the younger guys, but those veterans obviously are going to get a little bit more of those starting roles. So what do you think of the linebackers?
Keyshawn Elliott and Jordan Crook are both ready to play at an all-conference level. Elliott's going to get drafted. Crook was on our Hot 11. He's everywhere, a lot more savvy and quicker reacting. And then the depth there is really great. Cyrus Fiaseu's had a good camp. Martell Hughes is going to be a really good player before he's done. Tate Romney and Crew Jackson have improved a lot. It's about as deep as you're going to get.
And then with that D-line, a lot of returners as well, a lot of depth. So what do you make of just that room too?
They only lost Jeff Clark. Everybody else is in better shape. Most of the guys are bigger, heavier, stronger. A year more of working with Dyron Reynolds. Justin Watley was as good as anyone at camp. He's been the camp superstar in my opinion. 15 pounds lighter, the only guy that's really lost that much weight on defense. But he's really powerful and explosive. He's beating guys in pass rush with power, speed. He's about his business. Clayton Smith, Prince Zorba, 10, 15 pounds heavier. CJ Fight's more explosive and leaner. Zach Swanson's not even out there yet because he had the broken foot from the spring. Once he's back there, then the D tackle is really going to be rolling as well.
Well, if you've made it this far into the analysis, we thank you for bearing with us, and thank you for paying attention to all of our coverage. Off day tomorrow on Thursday, and then right back at it on Friday and Saturday. Just about 2 weeks out from that home opener against NAU, we'll have you covered all the way up until then, and then, of course, that opening kickoff. For SunDevilSource, Gabby Chernoff and Chris Cartman.